In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on January 13, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. New Orleans Pelicans versus Dallas Mavericks. On Saturday, 2 teams in the Western Conference playoff race, the New Orleans Pelicans and the Dallas Mavericks, will clash in what promises to be an exciting matchup. The Pelicans currently hold the 6th spot in the Western Conference standings, with the Mavericks closely trailing just half a game behind in the 7th position. This game marks the 3rd of 4 encounters between the 2 teams this season, with the series tied at 1-1. Both squads are vying for a crucial victory to solidify their playoff positions. New Orleans, arriving for the game on the second night of a back-to-back, faced the Denver Nuggets the night before. Meanwhile, Dallas enters the matchup with the momentum of a home win over the Knicks, triumphing 128-124 as 4.5-point home underdogs. This clash between the Pelicans and the Mavericks is pivotal for both teams in the intensely competitive Western Conference. The New Orleans Pelicans have exhibited commendable form recently, securing 6 victories in their last 8 games. However, they seek redemption in this game after facing a setback against the Nuggets in a 125-113 road defeat the previous night. Despite a notable performance by Zion Williamson, who led the team with 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, the Pelicans struggled to contain the Nuggets early on and fell behind by double digits. The team's late rally was insufficient to overcome the early deficit, resulting in a challenging loss. The Pelicans' resilience will be put to the test as they face the Mavericks on the tail end of a back-to-back. Conversely, the Dallas Mavericks have been in excellent form, winning 4 of their last 5 games. In their most recent outing, they secured a hard-fought 128-124 victory over the Knicks, with Kyrie Irving leading the charge with 44 points and 10 assists. The Mavericks, though shorthanded with Luka Doncic and Dante Exum ruled out, managed to overcome adversity and emerge victorious. The absence of key players presents a challenge, but the Mavericks have shown their ability to adapt, making them a formidable opponent for the Pelicans. Despite facing uncertainties with key players' availability, the Mavericks open as slight favorites for this matchup. The absence of Luka Doncic and Dante Exum, along with Josh Green listed as questionable, puts pressure on the Mavericks' roster depth. Nevertheless, the team's recent success, particularly Irving's standout performances, gives them confidence heading into the game against the Pelicans. Intriguing storylines surround this matchup, with questions lingering about the availability of key players for both teams. Kyrie Irving's consistent scoring prowess, coupled with the Pelicans' challenges on the second night of a back-to-back, adds an element of unpredictability to the game. The Pelicans' trio of Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and C.J. McCollum, each dealing with minor injuries, further complicates their situation. In contrast, the Mavericks have demonstrated resilience in adjusting to injuries, with Tim Hardaway Jr. stepping into a starting role to contribute 17.5 points per game. Adding to the complexity, the Mavericks hold the advantage of playing at home, while the Pelicans will be on the road after facing the altitude challenge in Denver. The Mavericks' proficiency in perimeter shooting aligns with the Pelicans' vulnerability in defending against outside shots, potentially tilting the game in Dallas' favor. As the Pelicans navigate potential player absences and fatigue, the Mavericks aim to capitalize on their home court advantage and offensive strengths. Despite the line heavily favoring the Mavericks, indicating expectations of key Pelicans players sitting out, uncertainties persist. The Mavericks' recent win over the Knicks showcased their ability to perform under man, emphasizing their resilience. Dallas, having enjoyed a period of rest at home, enters the game more prepared and rested. Considering the uncertainties surrounding player availability and the Mavericks' recent form, the Dallas Mavericks to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The impending matchup between the New Orleans Pelicans and the Dallas Mavericks is clouded with uncertainty, particularly regarding player availability. Luka Doncic's absence is confirmed, but a slew of players for both teams, including Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, C.J. McCollum, Trey Murphy III, Derek Lively II, Grant Williams, Maxi Kleber, and Josh Green, are listed as game-time decisions. This extensive list includes some of the key contributors for both teams, making the potential combinations of absentees a significant factor in the game's outcome. The Pelicans, with their defensive prowess and a tendency to force opposing offenses to work for good looks, face challenges with potential player absences. The absence of Luka Doncic, the Mavericks' top scorer, may elongate their offensive possessions, contributing to a slower-paced game. The recent trend of the Mavericks going under in 2 of their last 3 and 4 of their last 6 games adds another layer of consideration for the total points in this matchup. New Orleans, playing their second game in 2 nights with travel in between, may not perform at their peak defensively. The wear and tear of back-to-back games, coupled with potential player absences, create an environment where the Pelicans might struggle to maintain their defensive efficiency. With these factors in mind, under the projected total is our full game total pick, as both teams navigate uncertainties and potential challenges in scoring. Chicago Bulls vs. San Antonio Spurs. The upcoming basketball matchup features the San Antonio Spurs hosting the Chicago Bulls on Saturday, January 13th. Notably, San Antonio currently possesses the 3rd worst record in the NBA, standing at 7-30. Despite this, the Spurs secured victories in their last 2 games against the Pistons and the Hornets. However, the team will be without Victor Wembanyama on Saturday, as he is slated for rest. On the other side, the Bulls, with an overall season record of 18-22, have won 3 of their last 4 games. Moving on to the Chicago Bulls, their recent momentum was halted by a 140-131 loss to the Warriors, following a 3-game winning streak. In the defeat, DeMar DeRozan showcased an impressive performance, contributing 39 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists. Although Kobe White and Zach LaVine added 25 points each, and Nikola Vucevic chipped in with 14 points, the Bulls succumbed to the Warriors' offensive onslaught. Despite shooting 58% from the field and 18 of 40 from the three-point line, a lapse in the 3rd quarter led to a disappointing loss. Conversely, the San Antonio Spurs have found renewed vigor with consecutive wins, including a convincing 135-99 triumph over the Hornets. In this victory, Victor Wembanyama led the team with 26 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Doug McDermott and Jeremy Sochan also made notable contributions off the bench. The Spurs dominated both ends of the court, shooting 51% from the field and 18 of 38 from beyond the arc. They built a substantial lead in the 2nd quarter and continued to widen the gap as the game progressed. Despite the initial lack of intrigue in this matchup, both teams have shown improved performances lately. The Bulls, with 3 consecutive victories, and the Spurs, going 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games, are entering the game with momentum. San Antonio, now mostly healthy, appears determined to leverage this period as a fresh start. In the last 2 games, their starters, including Tre Jones, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sochan, and Victor Wembanyama, demonstrated positive plus-minus contributions. With the inclusion of Keldon Johnson and Zach Collins, Coach Greg Popovich has a more promising roster. Having won 8 of their last 12 games, the Chicago Bulls are on an upward trajectory. Although their scoring average remains at 109 points per game during this stretch, their defense has notably improved, allowing 4 fewer points per game. Opponents are shooting just 45.2% overall and 33% from deep during the Bulls' win streak. As the Bulls' defense has shown improvement, it becomes a potential X factor against the Spurs, who have scored 115 points or more in their last 3 games. The Spurs, having displayed great form in recent weeks, will miss the presence of Victor Wembanyama against the Bulls. This absence may pose a challenge for San Antonio, especially in interior scoring, as they face a Bulls team with a solid defensive frontcourt. Despite the Spurs' recent wins, the Bulls are favored to dominate, particularly inside the paint, where the Spurs may struggle to find scoring options without their star rookie player. While the Bulls had a 3-game winning streak before their setback against the Warriors, there is optimism that they will initiate a new streak in the upcoming game. The Spurs have shown better performance without Wembanyama, particularly with players like Johnson and Vassell stepping up. However, it's worth noting that the Spurs' recent victories came against weaker teams, namely the Pistons and the Hornets. Considering the Bulls' consistency and the Spurs' struggles at home, the Chicago Bulls to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. Examining the defensive aspect, the Chicago Bulls have been a reliable defensive team, ranking 13th in defensive rating and 12th in three-point defense throughout the season. Their ability to generate turnovers could pose challenges for San Antonio, which averages 14.9 turnovers per game. With the Spurs being one of the least efficient three-point shooting teams, the Bulls are expected to limit their scoring opportunities inside the arc. On the defensive end, the Spurs are anticipated to hold their ground against the low-scoring Chicago team. The Bulls, lacking a threat from long range and ranking 29th in assists, may struggle to find quality looks in the half-court. With the Spurs ranking 9th in blocks per game and the Bulls ranking 28th in rim field goal percentage, a defensive battle is expected. Considering that the Spurs will be without Wembanyama, their primary scorer, they might encounter difficulties in scoring, especially given their fast-paced style of play. The Bulls, known for their slower pace, are likely to capitalize on this and turn the game into a low-scoring affair. In this context, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Los Angeles Lakers vs. Utah Jazz. The Los Angeles Lakers are embarking on a journey to the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah, where they are slated to go head-to-head with the Utah Jazz. The Lakers currently hold a season record of 19-20, placing them in the 11th position in the competitive Western Conference. Conversely, the Utah Jazz boast a 20-20 record for the season, positioning them at the 10th spot in the Western Conference standings. Notably, the Lakers secured a victory in their sole encounter with the Jazz this season, concluding the game with a resounding 99-131 triumph. In recent matchups, the Los Angeles Lakers were on the verge of building momentum with consecutive victories before facing a setback in a 127-109 loss to the Suns. D'Angelo Russell emerged as the leading scorer for the Lakers, contributing 19 points and 6 assists off the bench. However, the team faced challenges as Anthony Davis and Austin Reeves managed only 13 points each, and LeBron James finished with 10 points and 9 assists. Despite a commendable 50% shooting accuracy from the field and 13 successful three-pointers out of 34 attempts, the Lakers struggled to contain the Suns, falling behind by a substantial 32 points before mounting a comeback. Contrastingly, the Utah Jazz have been experiencing a hot streak, clinching victory in 10 of their last 12 games. The team aims to extend this impressive run by pursuing a 5th consecutive win following a convincing 145-113 triumph over the Raptors. In this remarkable performance, Lauri Markkanen led the team with 22 points, complemented by Jordan Clarkson's 21 points off the bench and Colin Sexton's 20 points and 5 assists. The Jazz exhibited dominance by shooting 55% from the field and an impressive 21 of 43 from the three-point line, securing a 17-point lead at halftime and ultimately finishing with their most significant win of the season. Heading into the matchup, the Los Angeles Lakers may face challenges with key players D'Angelo Russell and Cam Reddish listed as questionable. In contrast, the Utah Jazz enter the game with a complete and healthy squad. Despite the Jazz's commendable performance, having won their last game, the back-to-back scenario might induce fatigue. Nonetheless, the Jazz are expected to maintain competitiveness, primarily driven by their potent offense. Over their last 3 games, Utah has averaged an impressive 134 points, exploiting opportunities against average and below-average defenses. Considering the Lakers' relatively weak defense, especially in defending the three-point line, a closely contested game is anticipated. Notably, the Los Angeles Lakers find themselves amidst their most challenging slump of the season, exacerbated by a recent significant loss to the Suns. On the contrary, the Utah Jazz have been quietly excelling, showcasing their best basketball in the season and securing a decisive win against the Raptors. While the Jazz face the challenge of playing on 0 days of rest, their formidable 13-5 home record and superior recent form make them the team with the edge. The Lakers, seeking a crucial win to stay in playoff contention, hold a rest advantage but face a resilient Jazz team that has consistently exceeded expectations. In the ongoing narrative of the season, the Utah Jazz continue their winning streak, having won 4 consecutive games and covering the spread in 9 of their last 11 games. This impressive performance has established the Jazz as a reliable team for bettors. Acknowledging the recent trend, the Utah Jazz remain a strong choice, especially considering their consistent success in both winning and covering spreads. So the Utah Jazz to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Analyzing the offensive prowess of both teams reveals a stark contrast in their approaches. The Utah Jazz heavily rely on their dominant offense, averaging 116 points per game for the season. This number escalates to 122.7 when playing at home and an astounding 133.7 in their last 3 games. Conversely, the Lakers experience an inverse effect on their defensive end, allowing an average of 115.2 points per game for the season, 118.4 on the road, and 120.3 in their last 3 games. When combining both teams' offensive and defensive averages across different contexts, a projected total of 236 emerges. Factoring in the average pace of play for both teams, set at 104.4 possessions per game, further reinforces our expectations for the total here. While the Los Angeles Lakers do not heavily rely on three-point shooting, they excel in picking up the pace and transitioning into fast-paced plays. Ranking 6th in the NBA in pace with 100.7 possessions per 48 minutes, the Lakers contrast with the Jazz, who stand 12th with 99.7 possessions per 48 minutes. Furthermore, the Jazz boast a high three-point rate of 41.1%. Examining recent trends in total scores, the over has prevailed in 8 of the Lakers' last 12 games overall and in 11 of their last 12 outings on the road. Additionally, 5 out of the previous 6 encounters between the Lakers and Jazz have surpassed the projected total. Considering these trends and the expected high-scoring nature of the upcoming game, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.